Talking to Creatives. And today I'm talking to the one, the only Power Pocket businesswoman, Jinae Heyns.
Woo!
So listen, you're like the ideal person to be talking to on this channel because you are creativity meets consciousness. And everyone on this channel loves consciousness and we love being out of the box. So that's why we love you.
Thank you so much.
So those of you who don't know, so Jinae has this beautiful, bold brand called Matsidiso. Shoe brand, accessories, bags, jewelry. We'll get into all of that just now. But it's really sustainable, ethical, conscious. And I want you, Jinae, to please, I know you, but I want our viewers to know you better as well. So I just want you to have a moment to just please introduce, who are you? Who's Jinae?
Well, firstly, thank you so much, Ursula, for that sweet, kind, beautiful introduction. You're amazing. And yeah, I'm so appreciative and honored to be here and just to chat with you. So yeah, my name's Jinae and I'm American. And people are like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing here? What's the story? But I'm married to South African and his mom happened to own this amazing dance factory in Epping in Cape Town in South Africa. And a very long story short, we fell in love, and in the process of debating where we would live long term, we ended up coming to South Africa to help his mom with her business. And eventually we turned it into, from the ballet dance line, we created a footwear line, and that's where Matsidiso was kind of burst and emerged. And it was a massive learning curve and process because none of us knew how to make shoes. And we wanted to do it in a way that was really sustainable, like to the best of our ability, you know, because no product can be 100% or perfectly sustainable, but we're, you know, working on that process, like, you know, down to the stitching and the threads to the insoles to the uppers. So yeah, that's us, and that's in a very short little nutshell. That's how we started, and we've been going now for about 3.5, well, almost 4 years now.
That's amazing. I thought longer because you're so established and you've achieved so much. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Jinae won the 2020 Twig Sustainability Award for Best Accessory. So let's quickly pause here at your sustainable practice. So why is it so important for you to bring creativity, and sustainability and ethical? You're so ethical and sustainable. Why is that important for you and in the fashion space and your designs?
No, absolutely. I just think the world we're living in now requires it and demands it. And I know that, you know, some industries have already been in this loophole of making fast fashion and mass production. And that's you know, that's been the trend for so long. But, you know, I think just on a personal level, when you care about what you eat, you care about, you know, your environment, you love nature. You know, I grew up in nature, and you think about kind of companies like Nestle that have destroyed forests, or and you look at that and it breaks your heart. And you look at like David Attenborough's like most recent Lonely Planet and how much has been destroyed, and you think we cannot go on like that anymore as a society. And how can you bring, you know, I think moving to South Africa too was a shock for me. One, it's like the most enamoring, beautiful, incredible country. But then on top of that, you've got these haves and the have-nots, and you've got this massive divide between people, and people need work. And so how do you take empowering people and mix it with creating something that traditionally has been fast fashion and bring the two together? And that was always my challenge, and it's still my challenge, like very much is still my challenge, because there's still debate around leather versus vegan and what materials to use and all those sorts of things. And so you just do the best you can. But yeah, to me, just really closely looking at that has not only been just a business decision, but a personal life decision. And I think that's where it always started, was like on a personal scale. I can't coexist with myself with integrity, or the feeling of, a good feeling, without knowing that I'm trying to tackle a challenge that is huge, but that I care deeply, deeply about. So that's kind of why it matters to me, at least.
So beautiful. Now, please, can you, because I have so many question marks about what is ethical leather, and what
Yeah.
are you saying now with like vegan leather? Is that, have you gone into that direction that I'm not aware of? Are you going in that direction?
So really great questions. And I think okay, so again, I think the conversation around leather is complex, but it actually doesn't have to be. So one thing we're doing to tackle leather is we're firstly looking at the factories. So that's always been the most important. Like, what do the factories say that are making the leathers? What do our suppliers say? And they're either a byproduct of the meat industry already, but we want to go further than that, because obviously on a global scale, the use of meat and leather is it's too much, and that's why everyone's going vegan also, is because I think anything, for example, like if you use pineapple leather, say like Piñatex, which is now an option, but to import it would, for me, I'd have to charge like 4,000 Rand for a shoe. So it's just like not an option. And I don't know if the material on the shoe is, for our style of shoe, will last, how long it will last yet. So it's difficult to test that at the moment. But again, I always ask myself, okay, so say if like pineapple leather became the next meat industry, if you use too much pineapple and we destroy like those pineapple forests, like then are we in a better situation? And I really think a lot of the issues in society are about balance. So I think the issue is with the meat industry that there's too much use of it, like that the CO2 levels going into our planet, it's because there's just too much. And so I think just being in South Africa, it's complex. There's a lot of layers, but I think being in South Africa, using materials that I believe in, that will create longevity in our shoe, that are natural, actually, that when they break down aren't going to cause more damage. Actually, like the leather itself won't cause damage, but threads and those sorts of things are still an issue. But we try to tackle those as new kind of products emerge for those alternatives. But for us, I think using leather means longevity, and we don't make mass production. We have very little stock on hand, so we make on demand, which means we're making a product for you. It might take 12 working days, but that means that it's a specific product for that specific person, and you're going to get long-term use out of it. And that, should something happen to that shoe, return it back to us. We will fix it free of charge, to the best of our ability. It depends on, if a dog got a hold of it or something, we might not be able to, like if your puppy chewed it, I don't know. But if, a sole comes apart and we can glue something back on or replace that, we can do that for you, so that we create the sustainable cycle, but there are layers and layers and layers to uncover in this. So I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place with this answer. It's just that I don't believe there's a perfect answer. I am looking at alternative leathers, and I will do that. I will not start with it though until I believe there's a better alternative to plastic that is affordable and that makes sense for the very moment. Yeah, so we're definitely looking at going in that direction as something emerges. But I think that's a huge business opportunity for somebody who wanted to create a leather alternative in South Africa, using the produce in South Africa. I mean, if you can make apple leather, pineapple leather, cactus leather, surely you can make a mango leather, a corn leaf leather, so I just want somebody to first make it here, actually. I'm like, come on, South Africa.
Yeah, empower yourselves. That's the whole point. But you're massively
Yeah.
creative. But I just want to add, and it's true, it's not like a yes or no conversation. It's not black or white. And like, even if I think about my meat consumption, so I do consume meat, but very consciously, very, there are like also layers in how I consume that meat. So even in the wearing of it. And I want to just, everyone's talking about the shoes. These are forever shoes, Jinae. They are my forever
Thank
baby.
you.
They're comfy, they're gorgeous. People stop you in the road, got the wooden heel. It's love, it's gorgeous. And yeah, I wanna know like where you get your inspiration. Yeah, let's quickly go. Where do you get your inspiration for your designs?
Yes. So, okay. So just really quickly before I talk about that, I just wanted to say a very, very quick last moment thing on the last subject is just that you're right. I think the guilt around sometimes how ethical or sustainable we are is not the right approach. I think it's just being conscientious of what decisions we are making and are they the best ones we can make right now. So even on a personal level, you know, like how you consume meat and, you know, you're being very conscious of it. And that's incredible. Like the fact is you can still eat meat. And I don't believe like just getting rid of meat is going to be the end of our problems. I think it's like living in congruency with our society, like how the world is and in balance, and then trying to promote that and educate people. But I just wanted to say like I think people feel a lot of guilt and judgment around these topics. And I think that causes actually probably more of a backlash than a positive. So just like approaching, even if you do go shop at H&M and Zara and, you know, fast fashion places, I think to rather not judge yourself, but to consider like, you know, okay, like while I'm making this purchase, do I believe in it? Does it sit well with me? Like, or how am I educating myself around what practices they're doing? How have they improved their practices as a company so that I feel good buying what, you know, this linen item from H&M or whatever. So I just wanted to say that last little bit so no one feels guilt or anything around it.
I agree with you because like even like I've got, when you were saying that, I've got a top from H&M that I bought I think about 10 years ago and I still wear it. You know, so it's classic, it's like, it's long, you know, it wasn't just a, so there are layers, there's no right or wrong. Let's do away with the guilt. How do you design? What inspires you? What inspires you?
And with the designs, so the designs, to be totally honest, like I just, it started with just looking at the country and thinking like there's this diversity and beauty and what colors are being used. And I've always loved vivid colors and, you know, like orange and yellow and limes and just when I see women wearing it, I'm just like, oh, she looks gorgeous. So, and then you've got these cultures in between that, and you've got this topography between that. So you've got, you know, different cultures, but then you also have the bush versus like fenbos and like all the beautiful nature. And so as much as I can, I try to use, you know, we have very modern, it's like a fusion of African inspiration / modern, and using earthy, like the wood came in because it's so natural, it's so beautiful. And like, to me, at least I think, but like the Naisna blackwood that we use on our heels is actually an invasive species in the Naisna forest. And so by using it, it's actually getting rid of a wood that anyway is disruptive to, you know, that environment. And it looks beautiful as a heel. So it's, you know, it really like works well as a full circle kind of principle. But the idea of the shoes is to base it on derivatives of nature and what's in Africa, and then try to give it like a little bit of a modern spin that isn't so direct, like taking something specifically and you know, I guess maybe culturally appropriating or anything like that.
That's amazing. I'm just thinking like, oh my goodness, all the research you have to do to source the right materials. There's layers and layers. Now, I want to talk about another layer to your business, and that is that your soul food blog, which I love. I love your newsletters. I love your blog, and you get a lot of brands where if you go onto their website, they have a blog and last post 2017 or something, but you're on that blog. You're constantly creating meaningful conversations, either through your interviews or just the posts you make. I want to know, like, what is your vision for your blog? What is the conversation you want to have? Why is it important to you to have this blog as a shoe brand?
Yes, no, thank you so much for that question too, because we don't really talk a lot about our blog. And I think again, it's like the essence of just talking from your heart about human things that are happening now, like your mental well-being. It has nothing to do with shoes, but it's an important conversation because people are struggling, and it's not like we haven't been there too. We have our ebb and flow of emotions the whole time. So I think knowing that people are out there potentially suffering over something, like what can we say that might impact one person, down to sustainable living, down to being conscious. And I've been so blessed to have partners and or employees who have contributed to that blog from their heart. And I think that also makes it a fusion of different human perspectives. So Samantha from Threads helps us with Thread Media, helps us with our blog, and she writes a lot of the content. And she's such an incredible human. We connect on a human level all the time, like other than business, or just have these fat chats about life. And that inspiration goes in there. Then like Andrea Ruth, who is our photographer, but she also wrote a mental wellness guide that just people loved.
I loved it. I loved it.
It's just so raw and real, and
I've got yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank
so
you.
If you haven't seen that post, I just want to tell people, go look at the mental health. I'll even link it below, the mental health blog post.
You.
That was
Thank
very
you
powerful.
So much. Yeah, she's just an incredible person too, who has real, we all go through like a variation of emotions, and some people, especially this year, I think depression and anxiety and stress were at 2020, it's like all that it was. And just how you can calm that, and how you cannot judge yourself for those things. Like, how do you step out, again, that judgment, that guilt, because there's so much around those negative emotions that also pull you further down when you feel guilty. And her perspective on that was just really, really wonderful. So thank you so much.
So how do you nurture your mental health during these times in a new year? Like because I know this is important to you.
Yeah. So I think just running, it sounds pretty messed up, but also it's kind of like our ongoing joke is that like COVID was just like another year in our business, because we've had so many insane changes and so much happening that we feel like the chaos is just normal. Like we really feel like this kind of level of insanity and stress. So I've been lucky enough to delve into the world of mental well-being long ago. And it has been so important for my sanity, just because, there's imposter syndrome when you start a business. There's the fear, there's the financial up and downs that cause major stress. So for me, I absolutely meditate, or I do box breathing. I do there's so many free apps out there now that are incredible. Headspace even has a Netflix series just to teach people who feel like meditation might be a little woo-woo or a little bit intimidating to get into. Like, it's a really brilliant intro to it, because it's not like your typical okay, now lie on, like the old school mentality that you have of like, what is meditation? But it's like a very it's not abstract, and it makes it very tangible and easy to do. So those are two things I do. And even in the day, like if I'm having a stressful moment, I give myself about 5 minutes to time out, walk away. And it's so hard to do that. Like, we don't let ourselves breathe. And it's, you go into the survival mode and stress, and you don't feel like you deserve the space to just, you think, let me just keep running my wheels, because maybe something good is going to come out of this like stressful energy, and it never does. So by giving yourselves 5 minutes out, you get so much more creative juices flowing. You breathe, you tell your brain everything's okay, you can calm back down and recollect. And I think, yeah, it's powerful, and everyone says it, but it's true. Like, it's genuinely such a tool that has changed my life for the better. And I just feel on my day-to-day a lot more in control, because I've been doing it for so long.
Now, you mentioned apps. Do you have apps that you would recommend that you maybe have for mental health?
Absolutely. Okay, so like how I start my morning is around 5 to 5.
Your morning routine.
Yes, morning routine.
Tell us your morning routine. Yes, all the apps. Morning routine and apps. Let's go.
So it started around like 5:30 in the morning, which has not been easy because I'm not, I believe there are sleep types and that some people are night owls and some people are morning people. I've forced myself because my life has pulled me towards morning. It's just the nature of the beast. Everyone's up early, business is happening in the morning. So it's my time to myself. And I usually start by some sort of meditation, drinking water, and then journaling, like a gratitude journal, like really writing, like either free flow where it's like I'm stressed out, so just write, like anything that comes out, and then never look at that again, like just as a release for my brain. Or if I'm not feeling stressed, I'll just write gratitude, like things I'm grateful for, just to put my life into perspective, that if I feel that I'm without, that I actually can remind myself I have abundance around me. And then exercise at either in the morning or in the afternoon. But I use these apps. So Fabulous is an app that I use that you can schedule, literally, it puts reminders in your day to like either, and it has free meditation in it too. So you can set up a schedule that teaches you to like, this time is when you exercise, it reminds you to drink water, it reminds you to be grateful, it reminds you of everything in your day, and it has little assistance, like little 5-minute exercises to get you going, to get you started in your day.
Yeah.
And it's free. And then if you want to, like, for example, kick a habit or I don't know, exercise, they have these other deep programs that are like it's like $47 for the year to use the app, but I just use the free side of the app. There is Bliss, which is a gratitude journal app. There is, gosh, there's so many. I have like a whole folder of all my self-help, like life-loving apps.
Don't think it overwhelming for you? Forever.
No,
No,
well,
maybe
not,
you ease into them. You can't like start, because I've sometimes when people tell me about these apps, I'm like, it gets overwhelming and there's so many. But maybe you need to try them out one for one, I guess.
I think that's the thing, because each person's different, just like how we eat in our diet, we need different things for our own minds, and we know what that is, I think, ultimately. And I think it is just testing things. Like if you're resisting doing something, like some people might hate journaling and they're like, oh, this isn't for me at all, then ditch it, man. Like, no problem. I think that's the thing, is do what's good for, you know, yourself. But how I work it is Fabulous actually links to each app. So I've got like a gratitude journal. When it reminds me to do gratitude, I'll like find my gratitude journal app. And then, you know, if it's like meditation time, I have my favorite meditation apps, and I go out of that program and I do my meditation elsewhere, because certain meditation really like, doesn't work for me, and then others do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I work it on my side. But 100%, like if it's overwhelming, don't do it. You don't need more overwhelm.
Okay, so the top 3 apps are Fabulous, Bliss, which is the gratitude one.
Yes,
And
Headspace.
Headspace.
I think Headspace is awesome for meditation, like for an intro even level, but it's got a free section, then it's paid after that, unfortunately. But it's the guiding. I love his voice. He's like this UK guy, got a deep, soothing voice, and he's normal. He's not like too out there with his voice, you know, he's just like talking to you, and it feels really good.
No, I do like his voice. I do like his voice. Okay, great. Okay, so that is, I kind of, the next question was kind of about how do you nurture your creativity, which I think links in with what you just said. But are there any extra, like, practical tools? Maybe you still have something in your toolbox that you want to share about nurturing creativity?
Sure. I think the biggest thing for me has been taking a walk in the park, getting away from online. I think if I need to find my creativity, I'm often stressed out when I'm online, right? Like, because that's when everything's coming at you, and you can't, it doesn't feel like you can ever pause, because there's a ting here from this or a ting here from that, and the news pops up, and everything is about bombarding your life. Like, every marketing tool under the sun, from media to, like browsing on Instagram to whatever. And so if I really need to step out of that overwhelmed space. I can't be creative in that space. I need calmness and sanity. So it's taking a walk in the park, or, you know, doing a quick workout. There's one called Fit On that's also a free app. The Nike app is a free exercise app. I work out in my house all the time because I always tell myself I'm going to go outside and do this epic workout, and I don't get to it. So I've had to just tell myself, listen, just do a quick 20-minute right here, right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, and quit like making up these big stories, because then my body won't go do it. So I think more than anything, it's disconnecting, like read a book, whatever it takes, like even if it's 5 pages of a book, or meditation, any of those things. But I try to just disconnect and like put hand to paper, draw, paint, whatever it is that, you know, helps me just feel like I'm in a flow, and no judgment, just like, let me do this thing, be present in it. And that really helps me like let go of all the stress of the day. And I usually, my creative juices start going if I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, you are so inspiring. And I think we can just talk forever. I'm like I'm listening to you and I'm like, I need to get a podcast so that these talks can be even longer and people can just like be, I don't know, where to let people cooking in the kitchen and listening to this. But so listen, I want to end us off with, oh, I don't want to end us off, but I'm going to end us off. But I want you to share with us, where can people follow you? What are your social links? Like, yeah, where can we follow and find?
Thank you so much for that. And you are an inspiration and incredible. And yeah, so I hope you do the podcast, because I think a lot of people would tune in and love it. So maybe we'll stay tuned. We'll wait and see what happens in the future. But from our side, you can find us on Instagram at Matsidiso_SA. And then on Facebook, it's Matsidiso South Africa. And then online, it's www.ca.matsidiso.com. It's quite a lot of a big lengthy one. But yeah, we hope to see you online, and please connect with us on our blog or anywhere. We just love to chat to people. Like, no purchase necessary. We just love people. So feel free to reach out anytime.
You guys have like such an inspiring blog, page, Instagram, everything. So keep it up. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And for so generously just sharing all your knowledge and your passion. So thank you.
And thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. And it's such an honor. Like, I feel, you know, I don't know, it works. These are the things that work for me, but I think 100% find the things that work for you. And if anybody has any questions about this, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to answer any questions from my personal little life experience. So